We need to talk about Silksong because what's going on here is freaking insane and completely unprecedented. But to talk about Silksong, we got to talk about Hollow Knight, the mega success indie title from Team Cherry, which is a development studio that's also self-published. I mean, just going to Steam right now, you'll find that Hollow Knight is sitting at an overwhelmingly positive review score of 97% from over 140,000 user reviews. That is extremely rare in the realm of gaming, in listings on Steam. And this is a game that has gone on to sell like 15 million copies or something like that total. The number of players just consistently grew throughout the lifespan of this game as people kept talking about this title and discovering just what a masterpiece it is. It just took Metroidvania, modernized it, and its unique aesthetic and vibes, and just how good just the overall gameplay, controls, combat felt. It just elevated this game to an all-timer status. And what's happened to this game recently is check this Steam charts out. This is insane right here. So the game launched, and you can see right here that players trickled in slowly over the course of months and years, and that player base grew as new players came in. But then look at this huge spike right here. Look at this all-time peak in current player number of almost 73,000 players, 72,916 to be exact. And that all-time peak was achieved just today, 7 hours ago. So what started the peak? Well, obviously, it was the announcement that Silksong would be releasing very soon. You have to understand that people have been waiting what feels like eons for Silksong. Hollow Knight came out all the way back in February 24th, 2017. It is now 2025. That's 8.5 years we've been waiting for the launch of Silksong. And I mean, it's been teased many times, and we got that Xbox event where we were told that the game would be coming out within the year, but then it never came out. So Silksong almost achieved like meme status. It almost achieved like Half-Life 3 status, or Grand Theft Auto 6 status of like, holy shit, will this ever come? And so to see its release date announced out of the blue on August 21st, 2025 during Gamescom, and not only have the release date be announced, but also that it's essentially gonna be dropped significantly sooner than people anticipated between the announcement of the release date and the actual release date, with it being announced to come out on September 4th, 2025, which is less than 24 hours as of the recording and publishing of this video. That was utterly an insane move. And so immediately people are like, well, I gotta replay Hollow Knight, and also new players were introduced to Hollow Knight, and so we saw the all-time peak just skyrocket when that announcement was made. I've just never seen anything quite like this. To see a game steadily gain a significant player base, reputation, and fan base to a point where when the release date of the sequel was announced, the all-time peak concurrent players just, skyrocketed to a level that, many other games would envy. It's insane. But it gets crazier. One of the things about Hollow Knight that made it so appealing was its price point. Despite how much content the game offers, despite the fact that people will be willing to pay a decent amount of money for the title, Team Cherry decided to launch Hollow Knight at $15. Just a ridiculous value for a game of that quality and of that scale and just of that level of pristineness in just how well it accomplishes everything it tries to accomplish. And now with Silksong, given how long it's been in development, given that it's been in development for, 8 years or whatever, and given that it looks to be even bigger than Hollow Knight, given that the reason we learned it took so long to make Silksong was because the game was essentially in development heaven, where developers had a good development environment where they took their time and they just kept coming up with fun new ideas. And so the project just kept growing. They just wanted to go at their own pace and make the game that they wanted to make, which is in stark contrast to just the way, like, for example, AAA games are made and published, and how, unreasonable deadlines are given, and how, just a lot of the fun gets lost in the rigors and the lack of management and proper, scaling back on major projects that just are so woefully mismanaged. It was the complete opposite with Silksong, but it took as long as it did. It's as big as it is. And so people are like, hey, look, we've been waiting for Silksong for a while now. I would not be shocked if they decided to price Silksong at a higher price point. People are like, I'll pay $40 for it. Hell, some people are like if this game was priced at $60, people would probably not bat an eye, because that's how good Hollow Knight was, and that's how much faith people have in Silksong. But then came the announcement of the actual price point. So Team Cherry announced here on August 31st, 2025, 4 days until release, Hollow Knight Silksong will be available on the 4th of September. Here are the release times on that day. But then check this out. The game price, $20, just $5 more than Hollow Knight. People were in complete disbelief. I mean, look at the viewership here, 15 million views, over 123,000 likes, and just about everyone saying, what the heck, I'll pay you more, Team Cherry. You don't have to charge that low for this game. The virality of this cannot be understated. You've got meme posts like this, reposts to make Silksong cost an additional $10 because this is such a baller move that people just want to give Team Cherry more money, because even at $30, it feels like the customers will be making away like thieves because it's just such a low price point for the quality and amount of content that this will offer. Look at Wario64's post of this before it was officially confirmed by Team Cherry, when it was accidentally leaked before the official announcement. Look at this 8.8 million views because people have been retweeting and quote tweeting this and posting things like, imagine developing the most anticipated indie game of all time and charging 20 fucking bucks for it. Oh my God. 113,000 likes and over 4.5 million views this post alone. People comparing this to GTA 6 and how some entities have said that GTA 6 could be priced at $100. And here we have Silksong, a game that's been in development for, like 8.5 years, or we have waited for 8.5 years. And it comes in like a chat saying, hey, sorry for the delay. That'll be $20. Now, of course, GTA 6 is a game of a much grander scale, of a much grander budget, probably the most expensive game of all time. That's not to say the game will be $100. There's no confirmation of that. Hopefully it'll be, $70, though, because Nintendo started the trend of $80. It'll likely be $80, at the base price point with deluxe editions and all these things. But Silksong has none of that shit. It's just $20. We've got companies like Nintendo releasing games like Mario Kart World for $80 and kickstarting this trend, and Xbox announcing that their first-party releases will be $80 that are not at the quality or scale of something like Silksong. And here comes Silksong, here comes Team Cherry, and they're saying, hey, just give us $20 and here you go. Here you have one of the best experiences ever. And that is what a development studio and a company and a self-published entity that is not beholden to shareholders looks like. This is purely a passion project that they also get to make a lot of money out of, because a big reason for why they could take so much time with Silksong and why they can charge so little in the way of dollars is because Hollow Knight sold so well, and it just made Team Cherry a boatload of money. But instead of getting greedy with that, they said, hey, we made so much money, like we can live off of this just fine, and this is more than enough for us. So instead of trying to scale up, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And we're going to continue charging $15 for Hollow Knight and just charge $20 for Silksong, because it'll be enough money, more than enough money for this small team that can now just kind of do whatever they want because they've made their riches and they're not planning to make all the money in the world, and they're not beholden to shareholders who want to make money off of them. They just have all of the financial liberty now to do whatever the fuck they want. And what they chose to do with that was to make a game that is just of even bigger scale with tons of new ideas and only charge $20, even though they could have easily charged $40 and people would have been okay with it. Like, that's the level to which Team Cherry just really highlights that for them, more than anything, they just love making games and they love this world. They love this community. They love just kind of creating for the sake of creation. And the money just kind of comes because the good intentions foster just such a great community and such positive, goodwill. They're pricing things much lower than they actually need to, just because they can and because they want to, because they actually have morals and they know that just charging $20 will be more than enough to make so much money, and it will make this game more accessible. And, they already made so much money with Hollow Knight that Silksong is just the cherry on top, and it'll make them tons more money. So they're like, we don't need to charge more than $20 because we're already rich, we're already wealthy. And now the wealth that we have is our creative autonomy and our creative liberty to make games like this and take our time with it and do all of that in development heaven. And then we can charge $20 for this and still make a lot of money. It's just, this is how game development and how the games industry should operate and would operate if it wasn't for the corporate structure, if it wasn't for how beholden everything is to shareholders. This is what like the utopian version of game development looks like. The way Silksong was made and the way they're treating customers and the way that all creates this vicious cycle of success where everyone wins. But you can see posts like this just highlighting what a Chad Silksong is for charging $20 despite, how long this game's been in development and despite the quality and the scale that we can expect. I mean, 4.4 million views and 132,000 likes just from this one post alone. Tons of positive leaning memes that are going viral with millions of views and tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of likes. This has been insane. There's this one right here. No, Team Cherry have more. The amount of positive rallying surrounding Team Cherry with all of this has been really wholesome to see, and hopefully it'll encourage more indie developers and just developers in general throughout the whole games industry to follow this kind of example. And, to be fair, Team Cherry has the benefit of it being like a smaller team, and the games that they make, they don't require this huge team because they're not making these, massive open worlds with photorealistic graphics or whatever. But then you look at something like Expedition 33 and the way that charged $50 despite them easily being able to charge $60 to $70 for a game of that kind of AAA ambition with, AA sensibilities. It still charged $50 for that. And, it was just a runaway success. And that was a game that likely had a bigger budget, but they found the right team and they found the right passion, the right intention to make one of the all-timers. Just seeing those kinds of more indie development studios thrive while charging less and still winning all kinds of awards, being critically acclaimed, and making more money than they actually needed to make. It's just been really awesome to see and highlights that success is not just about maximizing the corporate aspect of things. It's ultimately about maximizing the fun and the respect to customers. The one concern people have is that Hollow Knight Silksong won't distribute any review copies to news outlets. This was done because the folks at Team Cherry wanted to prioritize the Kickstarter backers over media presence and all these things because they know that Silksong will sell and they have a lot of confidence in their product. On one hand, that means that who knows, maybe Silksong will be a buggy mess and we won't know about it at launch. But on the other hand, there's just this level of trust. I think only Team Cherry could pull something like this and it be relatively okay because of the intention behind it. And people just don't anticipate that Silksong will have technical issues and that it'll be a rough launch. There's just a general, we know that Silksong will probably be another masterpiece. So dead set is Team Cherry on ensuring that everyone plays Hollow Knight Silksong at the same time, that they're not even doing pre-orders for this game. Everyone's going to be getting in on this to kind of get this game at exact release date and time, and so servers will be flooded, and hopefully that won't lead to crashes on Steam servers and other storefronts. But I will say there's also something to be said about Team Cherry not willing to take people's money until the game is actually out, until the product is actually released. Pre-orders, that's usually done for products that are limited in their supply, but this being a digital game that will see a physical release down the line, they don't need to do pre-orders. So the fact that they're deciding to forego that and making sure people make their decision on the day of and only take money when the product is actually real and actually out, that's also, I think, commendable. I just want to commend Team Cherry for pulling something that nobody expected. I full-on was expecting to pay full price for Silksong, and I would have happily done it too. But the fact that it's $20 and it's probably going to be worth way more when we actually play it at launch is utterly insane. And one of the just greatest W's I've ever seen a development studio pull off. Team Cherry, you are a treasure in the games industry, and I hope you keep doing what you do at your own pace with nobody to dictate the way you do things, because clearly you've got it all figured out. Or at the very least, that's one man's take. Well, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on Hollow Knight Silksong. It's $20 price point. It's free upgrade path from Switch 1 to Switch 2, and just everything that this game's been doing. It's been a long wait, but, I think Team Cherry's definitely making it worth it with a price point, and I feel like the quality will be there when the game launches. But that's me. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.